Joining us now with more insight on the upcoming hearing, Washington Post correspondent Theo Mayer. Thank you so much for joining us, Theo. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
The most opposition seems to be coming from Democrats.
Yeah, there's a core of progressive Democrats who are very opposed to Emanuel's nomination, including Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and have made a push to derail it. So it is possible that some Republican support will be required to confirm Emanuel when his nomination comes up for a vote.
Well, you heard from the protests leading up to the interview here. What about the support of the Chicago Urban League, which Emanuel says he has? How much will that sway the senators?
Yeah, in private conversations, with some of the senators that he is trying to win over, Emanuel has raised, the support, of course, of Laquan McDonald's family, citing the letter that you mentioned from his great uncle, Marvin Hunter, has also mentioned the support of the Chicago Urban League. It seems he was referring to a letter from the former head of the Chicago Urban League, Andrea Zopp, who he later hired to be his deputy mayor in 2016.
Does his confirmation still seem up in the air now then?
Yeah, I think it's still very much up in the air. I think his hearing will be closely watched when he heads to Capitol Hill tomorrow before the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. Some of the progressives who have pushed most strongly against him, people like Ocasio-Cortez, people like Congresswoman Cori Bush of Missouri, are not senators and so do not get a vote on his confirmation. So it remains to be seen how many Democratic senators, have a problem with his nomination.
Of all of the ambassador jobs, the one in Japan seems especially critical because of its implications where trade is concerned. So how does Emanuel's resume ultimately stack up against the handling of the Laquan McDonald case?
Well, one person who has come out in support or is planning to come out in support of Emanuel is Congressman Bill Hagerty, who actually was President Trump's ambassador to Japan during the Trump administration. Hagerty is now a Republican senator from Tennessee, sits on the Foreign Relations Committee, but is expected to come out in favor of Emanuel, saying that, he will be a strong voice in standing up to China in the same way that that Hagerty believed that he was.
I find it interesting that he worked hard to try to get the approval from the black organizations in the city of Chicago. How much weight does that really have in D.C., though?
Yeah, I think it sort of remains to be seen, how much of the McDonald family is really represented by this letter. One of my colleagues who I wrote that story with spoke to his great uncle, Marvin Hunter, who said that the McDonald family was not unanimous in their support for Emanuel. Emanuel also has the support of some of the black aldermen from Chicago who also sent a letter on his behalf to the committee.
Right, Theo, but how much weight does that really hold, I guess is my question, to the committee?
Well, I think having this support is certainly better than not having it. But I also don't think it will make questions of his handling of the McDonald case go away. This was a case that shook Chicago, that attracted national attention, and I think, it's possible some people are not going to be swayed merely by the support of some people weighing in by letter years later.
Of the aldermen in Chicago, for instance. All right.
Yeah,
Thank you,
exactly.
sir. Appreciate it, Theo. Be safe, be well.
Thank you.